Hey guys, welcome back to the Digital Painting Art Show. This is the art class number 1. My name is Jesus Conde, and we're going to talk about trees, drawing trees. We're going to be talking about composition, and we're going to be doing a drawing of Alice in Wonderland. So let's get started. Hey guys, welcome to my first class. I'm going to call this art class or the how to draw. I haven't decided yet actually how it's going to be called. You guys let me know in the comments if you have any opinions, but I was basically wanted to do something like teaching you guys how to draw stuff instead of how to paint, because a lot of people have learned painting tricks but they haven't learned how to draw stuff. And I think that's lately I've been thinking that's more important than how to paint. So I wanted to start with something easy, which is drawing trees. A lot of people have problem with that. I'm just not just going to copy the trees. I'm trying to explain you my process when I draw, how I represent the trees. It's not going to be like an exact drawing of them, but it's going to be how I represent the trees. So the first thing I do now these days when I draw is use a really small tip on the pencil. I'm going to use a brush that I have, which is really kind of like it's just a circle. I'm going to create it right here. I'm using a circle. If I press F5, I go to this panel right here, and I change the brush tip shape. I change the shape vertically. And the shape dynamics, I have the pen pressure activated, which makes a little bit smaller on the tips when I draw. Let's put it in the minimum to make it a lot smaller when I don't apply too much pressure on it. So that's the result, and I just save it right here on this button. It asks you for an A, and that's it. But I have it already created, so I just going to use mine. I don't have any transfer or anything, so I'm going to use, let's see, a 7 will be fine for me at the moment. So let's start with that. So I'm using a blank paper. Normally I use gray, but since the background of the pictures is white, I don't want it to get you guys confused by that. So how do I start drawing these trees? The first thing that I will do is do a little bit of kind of like a value shading or something, just little lines. If I get closer, you can see it's just little lines to kind of get the feeling. Okay, so here are some dark areas, and now I can just do kind of like a sketch of the general shape of the trees. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just how I represent the trees in my drawings, because if I were to draw every leaf, will be kind of like not impossible, but it will be like how much time you want to spend drawing these trees. I mean, if later you're going to paint on top of that with your it could be digital, you could be doing this on paper, and it's going to be the exact same thing, even easier in paper. I find that drawing on paper is way easier for some stuff, but the good thing about digital is that you can go back and fix stuff easier than in paper. So I want you guys to also notice I don't stick around the same part all the time. So I jump from places, also erase a little when I don't like that part. Generally I tend to put more value in the bottom, and that happens because the bottom is where there's more shadow, but it doesn't have to be like that necessarily all the time, so you can be flexible with that. And the branch, I don't know how it's called, I guess tree branch. You guys can change the shape a little. I'm going to make a little bit curve in here, a little bit of another little tree branch in there. We have little stuff, little leaves at some point. So this could be my representation of this tree right here. So what I want you guys to do is to do the same thing. I mean, the idea of these videos that I'm going to do from now on is that it's gonna be like a class. So I'm going to put you assignments, and if you guys can do them and then tag me on Twitter or something, I'll see them and I give you a little feedback. No, kind of like a video feedback or something like that, but just tell you like, okay, you did great, or you need to change a little bit on here or there. I'm going to try to be more responsive to my viewers, so I want you guys to tag me on Twitter when you guys do that. If you're wondering how to change the size of my brush with the keyboards, you can just go to Edit, Keyboard Shortcuts, and then look for Tools. And when you find the tools here, you just go down to increase and decrease brush size, and you just put the keys that you have. I have these ones, but they are actually the ones that go after the numbers on the keyboard. So after 9, then comes 0, and then comes those two. That could be different depending on what part of the world you are. If you are in France, I think there are different keys in there. In Russia, I think that is different also. Okay, so in the branch I could put a little bit of shading. We're good in time. So what I want you guys to do is to look for pictures of trees and do this exact same thing. Here, for example, I could start with the tree branches and just align. You don't have to do the complete thing. You don't have to do it perfect either. You can just do kind of like approximation. But what you will try to do is to imitate the shapes, not like doing exactly what you see on the picture, but at least the shapes kind of like them. I mean, if you see this shape like that, you're not going to do this. I mean, it doesn't make any sense because you're not learning how the real shapes behave, and that's what you want to do. If you see, when you're going to draw, what I see on the internet is that people draw grass like this, and it's actually more like this, and you could have places that are plain, and then you have a little bit more or a bit less of grass, then you have one that is taller. See, so it's different to draw this than draw this. I mean, this is bad, and they wonder like why I cannot draw the same way that others like people with more experience do. Well, you have to stop to think what you're doing different. I mean, you have to take your time when you do the drawings. Another thing that bugs me is when people ask how much time have you spent in some drawing. I mean, that question is just, it doesn't really matter. It takes the time that it needs to be taken. I've done paintings that I took about 2 or 3 months painting, and not straight. I mean, obviously doing stops. There is one painting that I started like in October last year, maybe earlier, and I haven't finished it. It could be because I'm having too much trouble with time lately with classes and work, but really when you take so much time doing a painting, then you spot mistakes that you didn't see before, stuff like that, and it's actually better because you see with different eyes. So you can see at the moment it looks a lot of like random lines. And it should kind of be like that because you're trying to represent something. I just copy the tree. It's inspiration. You want to be an artist, not just a copycat. So let's try to embrace that and use the pictures and everything as an inspiration, unless your goal is to just copy that because this is a portrait of someone or something like that. You have to do exact same thing. In that case, it will require more time and patience of you. But I normally don't do that. If I want to do a portrait of someone, I will just do like my version of it, and it has to look like that person, obviously. But I will probably change the lighting or do something new. Maybe change the clothing or something like that somebody sees it and say, okay, it's not this is obviously not from a picture. This is something else. Okay, so that one looked a lot different from the original, but you can see kind of like maintains the essence of it. Another thing that you can do is put a darker line around. That is the line weight. Also, we have few lines in here that go to the side. Okay, so I was saying, what you can do is just, the assignment for this class will be to draw trees while I do the second part of this video, which is going to be a little bit boring because it's me drawing a Alice in Wonderland drawing. And there's also some exercise in there about composition that I want you guys to do. But you'll see in that section. I actually recorded earlier. This is something I'm doing after that, but I want you guys to do it. I'm just putting it after this to explain you guys this first. So the thing will be, while I do the second part of this video, you guys will be doing this stuff, drawing trees and doing the other exercise that you guys be watching. And hopefully I will be doing this video once every, not every week, but every 2 weeks, like every other week. And if I can do it every week, I will, but there will be some times where I put 1 week and 1 week my other project, which is the outdoor project. You guys probably see it if you follow my YouTube channel, and it will be like this for you guys to practice and learn a lot of drawing and digital painting, of course. The idea will be, I'm going to be doing the Alice in Wonderland drawing, but in color. But I think that will be for the other week. This week is just drawing, and we're going to concentrate on that. And hopefully in some time you guys can have some results, good results with your drawings as you do the practices. So yeah, I'm going to shut up a little because I'm trying to get a little bit more concentration to draw these ones that are kind of more difficult. So I'm just trying to concentrate on the general shape here. Let's see. And I'm holding the pencil like really soft. I'm not using any strength, like super strength here. I'm trying to be soft as possible. I can see some other treetops here, like little branches and stuff. Something like this, I think, is fine. Alright, and you guys should kind of try to do it the same way, like try to imitate what I'm doing. If you have a better way of doing this, just do it your way. It doesn't matter really if you want to do it the way I do it or not. This is just the way I do it for those people that don't know how to. Okay, so here we have like a big dark shape. Like a big dark shape. We also have other leaves behind. Oh, here is a little one. I didn't notice that. I'm thinking like I should make the shadow on the ground. Something like this. It's not exactly the same thing, but it maintains the essence of the tree, and that's what we're trying to achieve here. Here I'm just doing random shapes on the and kind of like doing some strength on my arm, on my hand, but it's not like I'm just doing random stuff like that. It's more like I'm holding the pencil as straight as I can, but I'm doing some kind of like a strain in my wrist, and that's where it kind of like a little rumble in my hand, so you can get this little scribbling lines or something. I forget my English. I'm really bad at it. At some point I start just talking nonsense because I don't know the words. But it will be kind of like this. I think this part is too sketchy. Sometimes when I get the same line to the same direction, I change the direction of the canvas to the other side. And you can do that also here. Go to edit, keyboard shortcuts, application menus, image, and just go down to rotate canvas horizontally. Flip canvas horizontal. Here is I put a Control B. In some Photoshop that could mean something, but in mine it was free, so I just put it there. When I say free, is that it doesn't have any other key assigned. Okay, so I think something like this is fine. When you turn it to the other side, it looks like it needs to be balanced, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do right now. Like everything felt like just going to one side, so doing some lines to the other side makes it feel like it has a little bit more balance, so that helps a lot for when you guys do yours. Okay, so this is it in terms of drawing these trees. I'm going to leave it there. And that's it. So I want you guys to do, let's put you some homework. Let's do 5 trees, and then we're going to do the Alice in Wonderland assignment, which is pick an image of Alice in Wonderland and do your version. Alice in Wonderland. And just maybe you can do it with 1, you can do it with 2 images if you feel brave, and let's work with that. So let's just jump to the next part of this tutorial. Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of the art class, and we're going to be doing a little bit of environments. So I'm going to take this as an inspiration and make a new environment like the way I'll do it. Not saying that the one we have already is bad, because this is a classic Disney animation, and it's really well made. But I'm just going to take this as inspiration and do something new. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk here is about composition. We have our principal, our main character. Well, our characters here. Here's the cat. I'm going to make a little silhouette of her. And we have all these things in the background that you should know about, like why is it like that. Like whenever you're going to draw something new, you kind of have to get these things right. So this is a good way to understand composition, when you take scenes that already exist and you try to understand how they work. So first of all, our ground, the ground she's standing, has kind of like this shape, which is really interesting. So you could take that as a kind of like a tip of how to do your characters standing point. We have this curve in the background, and this is really important. This curve is really fluid, it's really soft, and also is under the character, is not on top of it. So you know that the character is breaking this line. This is what I noticed in this composition. Also, we have these elements in the foreground that block this. When you have something like in the foreground that is darker, and it has to be darker, you can have elements in the foreground that are lighter than the background. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, I mean that you can't, but you shouldn't have lighter things on the foreground. So this kind of already makes your mind like, don't look at this, look at everything that is in that direction. Like this is what's happening in your mind without you even noticing. When you have these elements on the foreground, blocks the light, the view. Also, I will say that the line of the tree is in purpose to make you look Alice, but that could be, I could be wrong. It will be kind of like just coincidence. But in what I know about Disney is that they do everything in purpose. So also you have this little, well, obviously the rabbit passed through these rocks, or that, I think that's what happened. I don't remember exactly what happened there, but yeah. So you know there's a path here, like there is something that is going to happen later, maybe. What else could I take from here? Also, I want you to notice the overall. Let me make an image in grayscale to see if what I think is right, because I'm doing this without too much preparation. Well, no, I mean, I was thinking something, but it's not that, it doesn't happen that much, but maybe it is, so I'm just going to say it. I was thinking that the overall value of the thing is that it's dark in here with these shapes and these shapes, so it makes your eyes constantly looking like to this side, or at least darker than everything else. So what else? Also, obviously, the the overall color of Alice is lighter than the background, so you don't get confused. You have a really light silhouette against the dark background. That's important. And you have detail, which is the flowers. There's a graphic element. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a painting using this palette of colors that I have right here, and I'm not going to do exactly the same thing. I'm just going to get inspired by it and try to do something different. Okay, so we're going to start by doing the drawing before starting to paint, and I'm using a brush that I created. It's kind of flat in one of the parts, and I'm also going to make the background darker so it doesn't look too bright on my eyes. You have to be comfortable when you're going to paint. So the first thing that I have here, I'm not going to copy the same shapes on the image. I'm going to get inspired by it and try to do my own thing. And for starting, I have the curve, which is something like this. We have a tree that's coming here, and we also have kind of like a bush in the background. Already is looking different in terms of how it's placed. This could be kind of like this when the floor where she's on her knees will be kind of like that. I think it's more a bit taller. Then what we're going to do is we're going to try to do different things in terms of the final shapes that we're going to be using. So for example, we know that we have a tree, but I don't want to do that tree exactly. I put this really soft in there. I'm going to start this drawing using a really little tip. Let's start with 6. Let's use a big eraser, and I'm going to just try to make something that I consider I like for a tree. So as I say, it doesn't have to be the same thing. And for a tree, I always start like this. I do like the big shape of the tree, the branch. Not too sure how it's called in English. English is not my first language, but I will say that I like when let's see. Let's try some shapes. Something like this maybe. And something that I do is do this little kind of like lines for shading. We could have some curve here. And I'm listening to music right now. I was going to listen to Disney music, but I really wanted to do something different. And if I wanted to do something different, I wanted to start listening to something different that is not Disney. We changed the size of the brush to be 5 now. So it's more, it's little. And I can start to I'm starting to find something that I like, but I want it to be more a shape a little bit more complex and weird. Also, it doesn't have to be like super real in terms of shape. We could go crazy with some directions of the branch, adding maybe a little branch. So I'm trying to find the shape that way. Also in the base, we will have a little bit of the grass going up the tree. Maybe something like this. Alright, we also, what I'm going to do kind of the same thing is the lighting in some level of it. I don't want to copy exactly the same lighting and the colors, but I do like the shadow that has in there, so I'm going to kind of put a little bit of that in there. And to draw this, I'm just doing really little lines, repetitive kind of lines, and trying to be do it slowly as I can, because when I draw fast or the fastest as I can, I get weird results. I don't get too nice results. We could even have the tree going like here, with the leaves, something like in there. I think that looks nice. We could also have some kind of a bush that's coming around the tree here. And we need also some little value here, so I do little lines. So that gives me an idea of a bush behind it. I don't want to use rocks, not yet, at least not in this part. Something like this I think is going well. I think it's looking nice, but I don't feel it yet. I think it needs to be weirder. I'm going to add some leaves here. I want you guys to notice that I don't draw the leaf like perfectly. It's just like sketching, Scrabbles stuff. for the tree branch I can do these little shapes that help me understand the roundness of the tree branch. It's kind of like a tentacle or some sort. Okay, so we need to be dark in here. So let's just draw a little bit of value in there. If you guys can do this as a exercise, it will be great, because this is a lot of practice doing these little lines. And sometimes what happens is not that you don't know how to draw, it's just that you haven't drawn enough. So you just have to get going with it. Like, take your time, practice. I don't know, like as much as you can, but it has to be accurate kind of practice. It cannot be just nonsense drawings. Okay, so another thing will be having a little bit of something else in the background, like another tree maybe, or a different kind of tree. Something like that. Okay, so that gives me some kind of sense of scale and difference between the trees and the foreground and the background, just a little bit. This line needs a little bit of more weight to it. And it's crazy because what I'm listening is a song from Rachmaninoff. I don't know if you guys have heard it. Piano Concerto number 2, C minor, Sergei Rachmaninoff. And some parts sounds a lot like one of the Little Mermaid's songs. I'm pretty sure that Disney used this music as reference at some point in the Ursula, you know, the villain from the Little Mermaid soundtrack, because it sounds a lot like it. Okay, so this is kind of what I have, the idea that I got. I'm going to change this to the other side. If you guys are wondering how I did that, you just have to go to Edit, Keyboard Shortcuts, go to Image, and change the, where is it? Here it is, Flip Canvas Horizontal. I put Ctrl B, so every time I press Ctrl B, I change to the other side and flip the canvas horizontally. And that helps me a lot to understand what I have in terms of to spot the mistakes in perspective and everything. So I'm just starting to add a little bit of more line weight at some parts that I want you guys to be able to read better in terms of shape. trying also to draw everything in the same layer as much as I can. Okay, so I have this. I'm starting to like it. Okay, so let's go down here. Let's start another part of this scene. So we have this little shape here to her to be sitting. Maybe you can have a little bit of sticking out shape in there. I don't want it to look too perfect. Maybe this part right here will have a little bit of kind of like a little mountain here going down to the water somehow. The water level will be this one. Now let's do a few rocks in here. Let's put maybe one like this. And try not to look too much. I know what I have to do, but I don't want to look too much of the original one, because I don't want to get I mean, I want the inspired to be inspired about it. I don't want to copy it. So something like this I think is fine. I'm going to make this kind of like a little shadow, like trying to represent that part is underwater somehow. And I'm going to just put a big rock in here. Something like this. Alright, and maybe this can go into water in here, like a little fall, and that's where those plants come from, the tall ones. We don't want to do them all of the same, kind of like the same shape, so we can have one like falling here, one a bit more to the right, more randomly. Also, we need something in the foreground here. Remember that we talked about that dark space in the foreground. Well, we can have kind of like a big rock with some plants, little bit of grass maybe. something like this. I like the idea that this is a kind of like a fall here, so let's put some shadows so we can understand that it's actually that way. Let's make this higher, kind of like a little bit of grass in here. Like the grass is just eating the base of the tree. Alright, so we have something here, I think. Let's start putting some bushes. We can add a little bit of tree branches here that help sustain those bushes. So I'm kind of like doing both things at the same time, sketching and also leaving everything ready to paint later. And doing this kind of like a little shading with the lines helps me understand a lot of the volume. Right now, the way I see it, all of this is open. It's not closed yet. Like in here, you just can see the density of that forest in there. For me, it's open at the moment. I can do whatever I want in there. Could have even a mountain in there, but that's not the case. It should feel really like we are in this deep garden. I think it's a garden. We could have like a enormous kind of like falling plant in here, like it's going in this direction. A little bit of value here. And here, because it's inside the plant, inside all these bushes, should be dark. Something like that. So we have to rest a little to see what we are doing. Something like that, I think is going well. We need to put some value in here. So what I want you guys to do is maybe make some drawings on your own. Just grab a scene that you like from this movie, or maybe another one, but make it 2D movie. Don't use 3D movies because they have too much information. Well, actually it doesn't matter, but I will prefer you guys to use 2D, like classic Disney movies, because you can create a lot of new stuff. But when it's in 3D, there's already a lot of information going on, in the scene because everything looks kind of like photorealistic lately. While here I'm trying to create everything. Maybe a little bit of plants like this, and some trees could go from there. If you're not sure how to create this, or don't feel like with too much imagination from this, you use reference. Just find photos and pictures of trees that you like and try to put it into the scene. Try to see how can this tree fit in this scene, and just make that. You are the artist, so you have to make the decisions. We can put some bushes in here. So in the next class we will be starting to paint this, hopefully. It's going to be really fun because I'm going to use this palette of colors right here, and that's always fun because we don't have anything prepared really. And in a third class will be the detail part, which is even more fun. Okay, so we have this little mountain here. Should be dark. So try to do this as much close as possible of what I'm doing right now. Try to imitate what I'm doing with the values, just make it your own, don't use bigger brushes for them. Because at the end this is practice. You cannot go wrong with this in the long term, because you're just adding more skill to your skill set. Trying to do this kind of lines that look accurate, or at least try to make it look accurate as possible. At the end it will help you to develop your skills as with your drawing. So this is what I have right now. I think in here we will have a little bit of detail. Some of the grass. Actually, I'm starting to feel like I should put this exactly like it's in there. I don't know why. What I could do is a little bit of rock in there, maybe a little rock in here, so you can. It looks more filled with stuff. It's not so empty. Something like that. I think I like more what is on the original frame in this part, which is higher. Something like this, I think it's fine. Yep, much better. And let's redraw this part. Don't be cheap with your drawings. If you have to change something, just change it and fix it. So this is what I have right now. Let's see how it looks a little bit darker. I like it. I just copy the layer and it look darker, that's all. These ones are actually, I'm not sure what shapes are these. I should find a reference, but I feel like I can do it. Maybe some shapes like this. Okay, so now I came back to this one and we're going to be, let's put a little bit more of shadow in here in the background. This general shape of all this area should feel more like a lot of bushes in there. Also kind of like a little hill in here, and maybe one shadow. Maybe you can have a shadow. Okay, so now I have all this information, and what I have to do now is we have to clean a little, because some parts are we just don't understand what's going on. We also, there are some areas like it's too sketchy at some parts. Some areas need some detail. Oh, we have to put some thing here in the foreground. Maybe like this little leaves in here. Something like this. And this should be darker. This should be darker because it's closer to the camera. Whatever is close to the camera should be dark. In terms of composition, not that happens in real life that often. Artistically, it's kind of like a rule, so we should do that definitely. This one I'm just copying them, not copying the shape exactly, but at least the position, because I like a lot what we have in the original frame. Okay, so I have all this information here. I'm trying to dim a little, like 70% maybe, and we can just clean some parts. Maybe we can add some little tree branch going this way here. To have like something going on closer, like there's another tree or something closer. Or something like that. Here I'm using 7 in the size of the brush. We also should put some flowers in here, but I'm not sure if using the same ones. Trying to do something a little bit different in terms of shape. Obviously, we're not going to put the entire. We're going to do every leaf of every flower in here. That will be crazy in terms of time. But we can make a hint that there are shapes in there that looks like flowers. We also need to have a lot of them, so let's just make something that looks kind of like a flower. This, maybe. Like this. We could concentrate them in some part. Let's just copy these ones. Put them maybe over here with the little lines. Something like that. Oh, they should be shorter. So let's erase a little and put in there something like this. So I think we could have like concentrate them in at some point, like that. Also here, like it goes around Alice somehow. And I think they will look also good. Let's flip them like this and put them over here. This is what detail is really good at, like copying stuff and flipping. You can save a lot of time and effort, but because of that, it's kind of like a cheap technique or something, just flipping stuff. Let's add a little bit of these ones here. I mean, if it was on paper, you will be drawing everything, and of course it will look completely different if you draw everything. It will be look more random, not so digital for a start, and that will be the main difference. Something like this. Yeah, something like that. Alright. And I think this will be it. Let's pull this a little bit more, like, let's just use it again. Because since I use kind of like a darker, kind of like a bigger tip, it looks a lot darker. So let's just clean some of the of the trees and shapes to kind of find that edge. It's just not some random scribble there. It actually looks more like a bush. Maybe something like this. Also here, this is the worst part. Like, there's no detail here at all. So let's just make these shapes a little bit better. Let's put some tree branches in here. Here I'm trying to hurry up so I don't have like this huge long video. That's also another thing that's kind of bugging me. If it wasn't because of that, I would take in all the time in the world to do this. But I don't want to bore you with a super 2-hour video or something. 1 hour is more than enough. So I've been told. Okay, so remember to do your assignments, and we see you hopefully next week, if not the week after that. Alright, so I think this is gonna be it for this video. So that's right. Yeah, this is it, I think. Talk to you later, guys. So have a great week, and let's wrap up this first art class.